Welcome to Wine Times and the Wines of the World section. Today we're going to talk about Portugal. What makes Portugal so different? Well, there's one thing, their grape varieties. Portugal has a cornucopia of grape varieties that you are not going to find anywhere else in the world. Names such as Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tinta Roriz, Aragonês. They even have a grape variety called Escagana Cow, which if you were to translate would actually translate as strangled dog. So these are not what you would call marketing friendly names because nobody's ever heard of them, but they are amazing, amazing grape varieties with different taste profiles and different flavours that you're not going to find anywhere else in the world. Portugal is the most western point of Europe, and it's a place that many, many Irish people go on holidays. In fact, there are over 200,000 bed nights from Ireland every year. That's the number of people from Ireland who go and stay in Portugal. Most Irish consumers tend to go down to the Algarve. That's where the sunshine is, that's where the sea is. And they do make wines down there, but certainly not to the quality of the other Portuguese wine regions. Although, believe it or not, the person who has put Algarve on the map as a wine producing region is none other than Sir Cliff Richard, who had an Australian man called David Baverstock develop his vineyards. They made a wine called Vida Nova, which you will get when you visit the Algarve, and it's a wine made from Aragonês, which the Spanish call Tempranillo, and Shiraz, and it's called Vida Nova, which means new life. But that's not the only wine you will find from Portugal. Let's take a look at some of the regions. Up in the north you have the region of the Douro, which is best known for the production of port wine. But oh, how things have changed since Portugal joined the EU in 1986. Now the Portuguese winemakers are making still wines in the Douro from these grape varieties called Touriga Nacional, Tinta Franca, Tinta Roriz, that once made the great big fortified wines of port. Now they're making big, powerful, beefy, still wines that are absolutely gorgeous, particularly in winter when you're making a big hearty stew. Then you go a little bit further south and you come to the region of Dow and the region of Braida. Here you will find grape varieties such as Baga. Baga is a big meaty wine, and there's a man called Luís Pato who's probably one of the best known winemakers in Portugal for utilising the Baga grape. We don't see that much of it available on the Irish market, but it is here. Then you go further down to around the area that was once known as Extremadura, which quite literally means the east part of the country. Now the region is called Lisboa, and here you will find the wonderful medieval walled city of Óbidos, which many, many Irish people like to visit, and in fact there's some great restaurants in that area. But the wines produced here in the Lisboa area are what we call IPR wines. That's quality wines from a specified area. Quite literally it means they use Portuguese grape varieties, but they blend them in with other European grape varieties such as Cabernet or Shiraz, just to add a little bit of structure to the wine. And this is all very innovative. Then move further south, go down to Lisbon, take a left, and about 2-hour drive you're in the most magnificent wine region, the region of Alentejo. And anyone who's visiting Portugal, I would recommend, if you're going to the Algarve, the Alentejo region is just 2 hours drive, and many of the wineries have wine tourism facilities available, so you can go and visit the winery and see the wine being made and buy the bottle at the door before you leave. So it's definitely worth adding to your itinerary if you are visiting Portugal. Alentejo is hot and dry. You're literally no more than about 200 kilometres from Lisbon, where the climate is maritime and quite similar to our own, and it's hot and dry and arid, and in the summer it's as high as 40 degrees. Here you will find many red and white grapes grown, and again very modern winemaking techniques taking place. You have Australian winemakers making wine in Alentejo because quite simply the region isn't that dissimilar to Australia, and there's been a lot of investment in this area. So there's very modern new world style wines being made in Portugal. So what I would say about Portugal, is that you've got to suck it and see. You've got to give these grape varieties a try because they are new and they are unique and you maybe haven't heard of them before. And one thing I've noticed, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, is that we've got a lot more Portuguese wine available on the Irish market. Part of this is to do with all the Irish people going and visiting Portugal, but part of it too is because there's more Portuguese wine available here. So what I would say is, if you're looking for the undiscovered hero, something to bring to the dinner party that you've never seen before, or more importantly, that your guests or the people you're visiting haven't seen before, try Portugal and you'll be very pleasantly surprised.